Good trouble. Peace isn't peace until it's for everyone. Hi, I'm Caroline Phipps, the founder of Living with Inner Elegance. And before we start, if you're enjoying these conversations, please check out my YouTube channel, subscribe, click on the like button and the little bell for notifications about future videos. In a world where one man's freedom fighter is another man's terrorist, choosing to resist or desist matters, because how we choose to resist or desist matters for everyone. Anthropologists, scientists, and historians are all of the same opinion that since the beginning of recorded history with mankind, we have been in conflict with one another for 92% of that time, somewhere on the globe. This is a staggering statistic, and it begs the question, when is resistance a good thing? Well, the answer, I believe, lies with the subject that we explored last time, integrity. That human quality of integrity is the key to this question. In 1938, the Prime Minister of Britain, Neville Chamberlain, flew to visit Hitler in his mountain home. He was trying to avoid another conflict after World War I because the British people were just exhausted with the whole idea of war. And he went to see Hitler with the idea of a treaty where Hitler could have some land that he wanted in exchange for Britain turning the other cheek and not getting into any kind of a conflict. This was a policy of appeasement that the British people were really pleased about, because Chamberlain came back to a hero's welcome and everybody was very glad that the situation was going to be peaceful and not cause a problem. Well, of course, with the benefit of hindsight, we see that the history books record Chamberlain as being naive and weak, because Hitler had no intention of keeping his word, which is something that Chamberlain couldn't even conceive of. So there are some lessons in history here to probably be reminded of today, I think. And one of them is that naivete can have a terrible cost. Pacifism we shouldn't confuse with love and compassion, because it puts our integrity into a situation where we may be dealing with non-integrous people, and it can create catastrophic results for all of us. The second lesson here, I think, is that we need to be very mindful of our own integrity and not cynically or ignorantly get sucked into damaging tribal behavior that pits us against one another. The war that happened and followed on afterwards, World War II, was the most damaging event in human history. And as I talked about last time, my father was a farmer in England at the time, and he was able to walk this fine line between naivete and keeping his common humanity. The War Office sent German prisoners of war to help out on the farm. And my father wasn't a pacifist. He'd wanted to fight, but he'd been asked to remain on the farm. And the people in the village were justifiably extremely suspicious of having the enemy arrive into the heart of their village working on the land. But my father was a man of great integrity, and he came to realize, looking at the character of these men and not at their nationality or seeing them as the enemy, that they too were the victims of complete madness. They were in a war that they didn't want and they hadn't chosen. And Daddy was able to walk this very fine line here because he was a man of integrity. Today, as we talked about last time, integrity is under assault. It's under assault by the people who fear it the most. And why do they fear it? They fear it because of its inherent truthfulness. There are many forces out there where people are wanting to pit us against one another to stay in a position of power, and they're looking to divide us and to belittle the idea of having integrity and principles by glorifying winning at all costs. So in our own lives, we need to think a little bit about making sure that our integrity is not compromised in any way. Realize that when you are dealing with the world and other people, they don't always see things the way that you do. Do not assume that you are dealing with integrity necessarily. In your own life, just keep a little bit of an eye on things where integrity can matter and don't allow yours to be undermined. Some simple things like, don't lend your car to somebody who's untrustworthy or give money to somebody involved in criminal activity, or get involved with somebody in some kind of a scam when you know better. Keep an eye on your own integrity, because when we fall victim to non-integrous behavior, that's exactly what we become. We become victims and it destabilizes everyone. The late Representative John Lewis, in his speech to the Georgia State University students, said, "It's your moral obligation to look out injustice where you see it, to call out unfairness when you see it. It is your moral obligation." Today, when fairness is being presented as unfairness, injustice is being presented as injustice, one of our jobs at the moment is to work out where things are integrous and where they're not. So when you're being presented with something, take a long, hard look at it. Does it stand up under scrutiny? Is it transparent? And the most important of all, is it the best thing for the outcome that works well for all of us? John Lewis described this taking the high moral ground with nonviolent resistance as good trouble. So let's keep our minds on good trouble. Let's call out injustice and unfairness where we see it. Let's keep a watch on our own behavior. And together, we are going to make the world a more elegant place. Remember, check out my YouTube channel, subscribe, click on the like button and the bell for notifications, and take a visit to my website, carolinephipps.com. There are some fantastic tools and articles and podcasts for you to check out to help you with your journey of living with inner elegance. Thank you for spending time with me. It's been fabulous, and I look forward to seeing you next time.